Yes, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to my review of the CQ components. For starters, I would define the CQ as the ability to understand, adapt, interact, and perceive the different cultures that one is actually experiencing around them, say from food to dressing to language and the like. The CQ comes through with four basic components. For starters, CQ drive, CQ knowledge, CQ strategy, and finally CQ action. CQ drive is basically the motivation and the push, something that actually pushes an individual to actually step out and understand a different culture. CQ knowledge is basically the ability for one to actually notice that different culture is actually being experienced around them. So with food, with dress code, with music, with language and the like. In case someone is to actually get to a new place and they are not able to notice that there's a difference, I would really be concerned for them. The next would be CQ strategy. This is basically the integration of the CQ drive and knowledge to combat any cultural situation that someone would land into. And finally, the CQ action. This is basically one continuously manipulating the environment around them to combat situations that would come. This would be having them shift from one strategy to another, basing on how they have actually been handling business. Yes, that's the four components for the moment. In order for one to actually understand the different cultures, there's a proper necessity for them to actually put down some strategies. A lot of them could follow, however, they are in detail explained in the document. So one would actually carry out research on the different cultures around them. Say, if one is I'm in Gulu at the moment, I'd actually move around and find out what language they speak, what type of food do they eat, what type of food do they serve when it comes to ceremonies, how do they handle their naming, what's the language about, a bit like that. Now in this situation, it's the basic first strategy. You actually have to do the research and get to understand that this is how the actually people actually handle business. The second strategy would be having intercultural conversations. Say you sit down with different actually people and actually find out their perspective on their own culture. I've landed on some people are not really appreciative of their culture and they're sort of embarrassed about it from time to time. Though I landed on this a lot in Entebbe with a lot of wannabes or people who would really want to be like the people outside a lot. They're trying to be Rwandans, they're trying to be Kenyans, some are trying to be Japanese. It's crazy. So in case you're to jump into such a conversation, you'll notice that a lot is actually being shared and you'll pick a lot of information on what's actually on ground. That would be the second. The third would be learning the native tongue. Now this is the most important bit, if I could actually say. If you want to get completely accepted by society, they should be able to actually speak their language. Most people come through and say they land in a place and it takes like 5 years because they're not interested and they don't pick up a language. Well, others can go to a place, say for a month, and they're fluent when it comes to speech, but they struggle with writing. Then when you give them like 3 months, they're good to go entirely. So in case one is interested in understanding the people, learning the language would actually be a very nice place to start from. And then contemplating on past encounters. I'm quite certain everyone has not exactly been in one situation where they're handling business at once. By this I mean being in an area where you're continuously surrounded by people of your culture. That is not true. So when someone is to actually move out and experience different cultures, say for now I'm in Acholi land, I'm in Gulu, I would actually get to know how to deal with the Acholi. But then say when I'm to move a little bit downwards to Lango, I'll actually understand that these guys are neighbors. So they share a lot of their culture. They're actually from the same ethnic group. They all came from Sudan a few years, okay, not a few years, but a few hundred years back. They came from Sudan and actually settled here with the Langese, actually just continuing down a little bit further. And then the Jaluos continuing to Kenya. So a lot of cultural similarities can be noted to the extent that a Langi can speak Luo, then Anachol is actually speaking Luo. They are both speaking low, but there are just minor differences. So once you to actually land on this, business just continues nicely. You'll pick up the language, you'll get to understand how the people actually do their dealings, and that's actually a very nice bit of it. So when it comes to culture and the like, getting to understand the people of the area is the first point one should take in order to say lead effectively or do any dealings effectively. You cannot come to a place out of the blue, you don't know how they act, you don't know how they do their things, and you just go straight to starting business. That's not a point. In case you understand them, you get benefits like increased adaptability. You'll be making decisions better and based on what's on the field, not just some ruckus information that someone would have cooked up. You would have enhanced team dynamics. Now, in the event that you're here in Gulu and you have, say, 3 people that are actually not Acholis, in case they're to integrate themselves with the Acholis on ground, in the office, as they're going through their day-to-day lives, you'd notice that business would move smoother because there's that unified, there's a way they're handling business in one way because they're all following one literal culture. Yes? So in the event that someone is to actually study the culture, enhanced team dynamics would actually come in as a benefit. And then finally, I would give this as a basic conclusion. In order for one to actually reap the benefits of cultural intelligence, you actually have to put in the work. You cannot be there and you expect life to actually move on nicely when you're not putting in any effort. There's no free lunch. This is a very easy thing that someone could actually take up, though it needs quite an amount of time. But in the event that one is actually able to get through the process entirely,